Back everyone, Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima has lauded Governor Peter Mbah's development strides in Enugu State by turning the state around through multiple projects across all sectors. Shettima, who was in Enugu on Thursday to commission the Enugu State Garment and Fashion Hub, as well as to unveil the 5th Expanded National Micro, Small and Medium Scale Enterprises, which are collaborative efforts of the federal government and Enugu State to boost MSMEs in the state. Also used the opportunity to tour some of the infrastructural projects by the Mbah administration, such as the Command and Control Security Infrastructure and the International Conference Center. First, let's listen to Governor Peter Mbah and the Vice President.
The importance of MSMEs to the Nigerian economy can never be overemphasized, as almost 90% of businesses in the country are small scale. So MSMEs are clearly the backbone and lifeblood of our economy. But as important as MSMEs may be, their success is no chance occurrence. They thrive only through careful policies that enhance the ease of doing business climate, comprising key enablers like the sustained provision of infrastructure, security, efficient legal and regulatory framework, among others. It is a thing of joy that this event fosters public-private collaboration aimed at empowering MSMEs and promoting sustainable economic development across multiple sectors. This would benefit small businesses in Enugu State.
This hub that we commissioned today, along with other hubs established across Nigeria, is a stepping stone to the economic height we have always desired. Aside from standing as one of the largest we have commissioned, this hub is equipped with cutting-edge technology to support the fashion manufacturing cluster in Enugu State, boosting production capacity and enabling economies of scale. This hub has the potential to produce a wide array of fashion products, from military uniforms to school and corporate wear, meeting global standards and creating about 48,000 jobs in the process. Our hope is that this facility will redefine entrepreneurship and training, not only in Enugu State, but across Nigeria. So the opportunities are there, and I want to join all of us here in thanking Governor Peter Mbah for seizing the gauntlet, for taking charge of the opportunities that abound. And incidentally, the Minister for Digital Technology is here with us, and he's a son of Enugu. I want you to join forces to see that Enugu occupies its rightful place.
Governor Peter Mbah and Vice President Kashim Shettima speaking there. With that, let's now welcome Arinze Chilo-Offiah, is the Special Advisor, Digital Economy and MSMEs to Enugu State Governor, as we get more insights and perspectives into how Governor Peter Mbah is targeting economic growth via MSMEs. Good evening, Arinze. Thank you so much for coming on Politics Tonight. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Right, so let's start with governance in Enugu State. It's been a year and some months since Governor Peter Mbah took over the affairs of the state. How has it been? What are the challenges of governance in Enugu State?
So far, in the last 1 year, it's been quite transformative since he assumed the office. He's had a clear agenda of what he's trying to achieve across key sectors. He has identified some key sectors that are going to be enablers to ensure that this administration hits the target of 30 billion in terms of GDP within 8 years. So that's what we're targeting. And to be able to achieve that, we need to make certain investments in key enabling sectors, of which MSMEs are part of them. So he has hit the ground running. The VP also alluded to this and the Vice President also alluded to this when he came over to Enugu State, seeing the vast array of projects that have been ongoing from the educational sector, which, to all measures, I think received the most application when it comes to the current year's budget. As compared to any other states, at least 33% was allocated to that. So it lets you know that there are initiatives being put in there. The Smart School Initiative is something that is really buzzing here in Enugu State, 260 of them across every political ward in the state. So these are one of the key measures that are going to ensure that we can reach our zero poverty index by that 8 years, by changing the culture, changing the educational system, and breathing a new generation of innovative and thinking youths that will be able to sustain that transformative edge. Again, within the MSME space, he has made a lot of strides and investments as well, and we can't thank him enough. And I believe within the next few years, we should be able to hit all our targets. It's been quite fantastic. It gives me back the thinking of, okay, we're back in corporate.
So what's the target?
8 o'clock we're in the office.
So what's the target?
In terms of our GDP growth, 30 billion. So once they hit, so I know it's, to some people it might seem quite difficult, but I feel with some initiatives, targeted interventions, God intervention as well, but also having the buy-in of the public, which is what he has tried to achieve in the last 365 days in the last 1 year. And we can slowly see that change happening. The populace is fully understanding the kind of governance that has come to stay here in Enugu State, which is purpose-driven, transparent, accountable, and ensures everybody's carried along across board.
Interesting. It's interesting to know that Governor Mbah understands that the state's economic growth strategy is closely tied to the viability and growth of MSMEs. But how pivotal is this to job creation and reducing unemployment?
Oh, it's quite key. Job creation is one of the key tenets that we try and focus on here. Within the agency, it's called the Enugu SME Center. So we invest in a lot of job creation schemes that would ensure that our people, especially the youth, are getting the right skills that are ensure that they have the right technical skills that give them access to jobs upon completion of those training programs, and also imbibe some of those soft skills that will enable that happen. So we've done this through a number of initiatives that cut across grassroots all the way up. We have capacity development programs within the communities right now. We have something called the Digital Skill Enhancement Zones cut across all the 17 local governments of the state, where we provide digital skills training programs for youth and also the civil service. This is part of the capacity development programs that the governor is looking at, both within the efficiency of the civil service. So right now we're training about 4,000 civil servants across board, and it's also part of the mandate to ensure you go through this training for part of your considerations for promotion. So it gets people really incentivized to do well. Outside of that, there's a number of targeted investment across skills programs in tech, vocational skills as well as business and financial skills. And we've trained over 12,000 to 15,000 across the last few years, but most importantly, the last 1 year, we focused on training programs across construction skills, the tech skills. Some of these programs are focusing on new generational skills, right? In the tech space, we have full software development training programs, product design training programs with private sector, like Old School, like Genesis Hub here in Enugu State as well. So what we try and do there is, when the youth finish from that, we can provide them an avenue to get jobs. We're also investing heavily in outsourcing facilities here in Enugu State.
Arinze, before we get to that,
repurposing some of the old government buildings that we have scattered across the metropolis too.
So how did government come about this 4,000 persons lined up for this training programs?
Okay, so these programs, it's more based on your interests. So it's a call for application across board. It's not something that is politicized in any way. We push it out there to the general public. We let them know how these programs run. You can check our website, Enugu SME Center. You see the application, you see the FAQs on those programs, and if it's
sorry, what's the website again?
Interest and what you're looking for, you apply for those programs. Yeah.
What's the website again? What's the website?
www.enugusme.gov.ng. So when you get on the website, you go on our human capital development programs. We have an array of programs there. People apply for programs for trainings and cybersecurity training and full stack software engineering training and auto body works, artisanal trainings and currently plumbing. So it cuts across different skill sets, like I said, business skills, vocational skills, and technology skills as well. So an open call for application. If you meet the assessment process, that assessment criteria that's been put in place, so there's no need for nepotism or anything like that. It's based on interest. And we find that that's the best way to have people motivated. And they go through this training program. Upon completion of this training program, we support them with job access. We have facility Enugu Jobs, which was supported with us, which was supported by GIZ. We also have platforms where through our partners, we can provide them job access to different companies across the country, and also supporting with providing infrastructure outsourcing facilities where they can work from Enugu State and be able to access jobs nationally, internationally, without necessarily leaving the state, so that their new improved spending power can be used here in Enugu State. So that's one of the key ways we can get to our 30 billion target.
That's good to hear.
$30 billion US target.
All right. So I wanted to talk to us about the Garment and Fashion Hub and the unveiling of the 5th Expanded National Micro, Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Clinics, which Vice President Kashim Shettima was in town for. I understand it's a collaborative effort of the federal government and Enugu State to boost MSMEs in the state. How easy was it for the state government to connect with this development plan?
Oh, I must assure you, the Office of the Vice President, has been very instrumental in ensuring that states across Nigeria are able to access these facilities. So it didn't take much. We were reached out to by the Office of the Vice President. They have a very hardworking team run by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs, Mr. Tola Johnson MFR. He has been quite instrumental in ensuring that this goes through. And I also want to thank His Excellency, the Vice President of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, for his continued support to SMEs and MSMEs in Nigeria. He's shown that passion. We saw that passion was evident when we had the clinics here in Enugu State. There's also, as in every clinic that you have across the state, there's going to be an exhibition for MSMEs to come and showcase their wares, showcase their products, and he was able to support a significant number of them. And coming to the state level, His Excellency Dr. Peter Mbah has been able to provide all the right incentives, resources to ensure that we were able to make sure that the facilities were put in place within 3 months. Now that it's going to be launched, we have a number of programs put in place to ensure that we hit the ground running, because we want to run it as a co-working space for entrepreneurs in the fashion space, training facility as well, and also as a garment production facility, right? That, just like the Vice President said, can produce jobs, can ensure that we are keeping the funding within the system. And we believe this is something that is going to provide significant support to Enugu State. They also had a solar project. We also had a solar project in conjunction with the Office of the Vice President in Udenu, as a local government here around the Enugu North senatorial zone. Is powering our main market, and about 400 stores have access to power throughout the 5 working days of the week and 5 market days of the week. So it's been quite significant. They also have a number of initiatives in the Office of the Vice President that we're able to tap into. And I must say, this shows effective governance, because once you create schemes and programs from the federal level, the only way you can get it implemented is through constructive collaboration with the state level.
So let me come in here.
I can't thank them enough. I can't thank the governor enough.
Because if I understand you clearly, the hub is a shared fashion facility expedited by the National MSME Clinics of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for professionals in the fashion industry. Nevertheless, the question that begs to be answered is why the federal and state government decided to explore the fashion industry. How does it provide an exchange and support of manufacturing in Enugu State? How does it boost production capacity?
Okay, so in terms of boosting production facilities, you have to look at it first from the MSME perspective. You have, fashion is one of the key players within the creative space. It's a big employer of labor here in Enugu State and Nigeria as a whole. A lot of thriving youths in Enugu, are in the fashion space. So how can we further support them? So at a co-working facility, I can be a fashion entrepreneur and get a huge order from, let's say, TVC to provide uniforms for all the staff. I might not have the capacity being constraints with equipment. I can, pay to lease this facility for usage. I might be a youth looking for new opportunities. I want to get into the fashion space, but I don't know how to. I can come to this facility, go through some of the training programs, beginner level, intermediate level, expert level, get the right skill sets, and the state government through the Enugu state government through the Enugu SME Center, the state governor, Dr. Peter Mbah, provided funding, single digit funding, grants as well, for entrepreneurs to be able to tap into to start their business. And from a production standpoint, we have state-owned schools. Like I mentioned, we have smart schools. You have state-owned institutions and facilities that have to do with some kind of uniform material. So using these facilities can help boost production, help create additional line of revenue for state governments and private sector as well. So it's an only one facility. You can just look at it as a hub for fashion within the creative space. And it also taps into another program from the federal government, of which the state is actively involved in, called the Investment in Digital and Creative Enterprises, IDIS.
So, perhaps for the purpose of clarity or emphasis, would you like to talk to us about the number of jobs this facility, this hub can create? Do you have the figures? Is there like a moratorium for the MSMEs that distinguish themselves during the clinics?
Also, during the clinics, we had a wide array of MSMEs that came to participate during the exhibition. So there were two things that happened here. First of all, the flagging up of that shared facility between the state government and federal government. After that, you have the MSME clinics, which pairs MSMEs with government agencies that support MSMEs to ensure that there's effective collaboration and also an opportunity for networking. And as a side event, there was the exhibition, which called across people in the fashion space, manufacturing, production, all subsectors within the MSME space that were all represented. So it wasn't necessarily for them. So now this facility is in place. We're going to partner with the private sector to ensure sustainability. And it's an avenue that can train. We have, just like the Vice President said, world-class equipment there. World-class equipment there that can train, thousands and thousands of youth on a yearly basis. So it might be arbitrary for me to say, 1,000, 40,000, but quite seriously, with sustained, training programs on a quarterly basis over a 7 to 8 year period, let's say a 7-year period, you can easily meet that 40,000 target mark as envisioned by the Vice President.
That's interesting. So would you say that this is a clear indication that the youth of Nigeria have so much to offer if provided with the right opportunity and environment? All right. So, Mr. Arinze, I'll allow you answer that question when we come back from this break. Please stay with us, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm Miriam Lunge. I'm a passionate environment advocate and a published author.
I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon.
I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
I am Amako Arakwe. I'm a corporate commercial lawyer and an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Warhaka. I am Ramatu Shehu Oyibo, an entrepreneur and a business coach.
I am the voice of an average Muslim woman, an hijabite, and a lawyer.
I am a polymath and a serial entrepreneur.
I am Murayo Afolabi Brand, Managing Director, TVC Entertainment. I'm a media consultant, producer, and broadcaster.
The ladies of your view are made of women from different professions, tribes, cultures, and religion. Join us every Monday to Friday as we share our views on topical and social issues.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Arinze Chilo-Offiah is my guest tonight. He's the special advisor to Governor Peter Mbah on digital economy and MSMEs. Tonight, it speaks to us about how Governor Peter Mbah is targeting economic growth via MSMEs. Arinze, thank you so much for staying with us on Politics Tonight. So, just like I asked before we went on that break, would you say that this is a clear indication that the youth of Nigeria have so much to offer if provided with the right opportunity and environment?
Well, definitely. I couldn't wait to answer that question before you went on break. This is the only way we can seek the transformative change that we're looking forward to for Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of potential, but that potential is there within the youths. We need to invest in the youths. We need to make sure the right enabling environment is there for them to thrive. And one of these ways is investing in these kinds of shared facilities. A lot of entrepreneurs have the right ideas. They have the right ideas for limited funding, the right ideas for limited access to equipment. So this helps alleviate some of that pressure. You can come to this facility and pretty much run your fashion startup, quote unquote, through this facility without necessarily having your own standalone facility. So you can see, just like a co-creation space from a tech startup perspective, this is something similar. So Nigerians have a lot to offer. Nigerian youth have a lot to offer. Nigerian youth in their creative space are thriving globally. So we need to, as state, federal government representatives, provide more incentives, provide more regulatory support, and enabling environment to ensure this is doable. So we're quite excited for this, and.
All right,
sorry,
Mr. Arinze, so apart from this latest development, what more does the governor have in stock for the youth of Enugu State?
Oh, thank you very much. So for the youth of Enugu State, for the entrepreneurs as well, we're partnering with SMEDA and federal government agencies for co-funding programs, Bank of Industry as well. So we're kicking off with a joint funding program between Sterling Bank and SMEDA. There's a $1 billion facility that is going to be issued at single-digit rates for nano enterprises here in Enugu State. And the way we've been able to achieve this is we've gone on a massive data collection exercise for nano enterprises and micro enterprises across Enugu State. We've hit at least 60,000 data points. And by collecting this data, we're able to create credit histories and for these businesses. So, that's the first step of formalizing the informal sector. We're going to register them, gotten partnerships with the CAC through the Registrar General of the CAC has been able to support us with 200,000 business support grant programs. So that is going to, help in formalizing these businesses. Outside of that, we have talked extensively about the training programs that's always continuously in play. We have a standing order of 40,000 youths trained yearly in Enugu State, 30,000 within the tech space, 10,000 of that within the vocational skills. There's a lot of investments that, within the TVC space here in Enugu State. We've been getting support from the governor, setting up 8 vocational training schools. We've also gotten support from GIZ as well. On some of our TVC training programs, we have collaborations with Copen Academy. We have collaborations with CSTREP for vocational skills, which we think are very important in ensuring job creation. I've also mentioned providing spaces, hubs for individuals to come and work, come and thrive. We have collaborations that we're exploring with the NCC with respect to the Digital Industrial Park here in Enugu State, with the Digital Bridge Institute as well here in Enugu State as well. We've been in conversations also with the president of DBI, who just recently assumed the position, but is keen on ensuring that these infrastructures work. And the governor is seriously interested in that. Dr. Peter Mbah is investing heavily in these kinds of investments that has to do with human capital development. That's one of the key tenets of the state. So I would love to come back and always be giving updates on what's been going on in the state. And for transparency's sake, all our information is in our website, like I've mentioned. You can also go to the state website. This is a government that is run on transparency, traceability, and accountability.
All right, and I also look forward to having more conversations with you. So, but let's talk about digital economy in Enugu State. Since Governor Mbah took over as governor, what initiatives have been explored so far when it comes to training of talent and talent development?
Okay, so when it comes to digital skills, I'd mentioned the Digital Skills Nigeria. It's a civil service digital skills training program for civil service here in the States. Every quarter, we train at least 2,000. We trained 2,500 initially, another 2,000, and we're going for the 3rd round now. Outside of that, we have a vast array of training programs in the skills in the tech skills space, non-training programs in data analytics and visualization. With Data Science Nigeria. We've done on cybersecurity as well with CyberSafe Foundation. We had training programs on full stack software development with All School Africa. Also similar programs with Utiva and product design with Utiva and Genesis Hub, which is an indigenous company here in Enugu State. We keep ideating on these training programs. We're about to start one on animation, illustrations with Magic Labs.
All right.
So these are programs that we continually keep rolling out to ensure our youth have access to 21st century skill sets to ensure.
So does government also prioritize their job placements, or what strategies are in place for effective implementation of that?
Yes, we do. We do focus on job placement as well. Like I mentioned, we have the Enugu Jobs platform that supports in providing job access within the state, both within civil service and as well as public service as well. We've had partnerships with the UNDP on the Nigerian Degree Fellows program, which provides recently trained youth with 1 year sort of 100,000 payroll support grants so they can get access to jobs. We are also investing significantly in outsourcing facilities, like I mentioned. Want to key into the Outsource to Nigeria initiative, talking to players within that space like Outsource Global, just to make sure that we create the facilities, partner with private sector, so our trained youths have access to jobs that can pay them in local currency and also international currency as well.
So what I can understand so far is that these bold economic development plans align with the governor's commitment to fostering a favorable business climate, upskilling youth and supporting small businesses through some of these initiatives. So how critical are these to economic growth?
So can you go over that?
Did you get my question? Mr. Arinze, did you get that question?
Sorry, there was a glitch. Can you go that one more time, please?
All right. So I said what I could understand is that this bold economic development plan aligns with the governor's commitment to fostering a favorable business climate, upskilling youth, and supporting small businesses through all of these initiatives you've mentioned. So how critical are these to economic growth in the states?
Oh, they are very critical. That's why there's a deliberate effort to ensure our youth have access to jobs. Another way we're able to achieve this is trying to partner with the universities as well, come up with job readiness training programs, hackathons, and programs like that, so that by the time they are transitioning from the universities, they have the ready-made skills and especially the soft skills that the private sector needs to be able to, get these individuals work ready. So we're investing significantly in that as well, and partnering with private sector, government institutions, universities. This is the government of collaboration. So these initiatives, will go a long way in ensuring the state government reaches their development targets.
All right. As a special advisor to the governor on digital economy and MSMEs, so if we're to take into cognizance the National Digital Economy Policy Strategy, talk about 2020 to 2030, which is part of the policy framework used by Minister Bosun Tijani, which is still in line with the country's objectives and priorities in terms of promoting digital innovation and entrepreneurship. Is this the same framework the state government is working with, or do you have a different policy framework?
So our policy framework does not shy away too much from that. In fact, the framework from the ministry itself has how do I put this? Has sort of like it encompasses a lot of key strategies have been put in place there that will support the ecosystem in Nigeria as a whole. So our plans don't deviate too much from that. In fact, we keyed into that to ensure that we're aligning with the national policies, but also tweaked it a little bit to suit the local nuances of what we have here in Enugu State. So we're not deviating too much from that. It's a well put together structure.
Right. I'm trying to expand this conversation and juxtapose the state's policy framework with what the federal government is working with. So for Enugu State, what kind of policy is in place to encourage investment, research and development, and especially the protection of intellectual property?
Thank you very much for that question. So one of the key things we're doing right now, within the next few months, we're going to have in place the Enugu Startup Bill, localizing the National Startup Bill that was passed a few years ago. So by doing that, we are able to put in place the right policies and investment incentives in the digital ecosystem space. So that would support us. That would support us significantly. In the digital ecosystem space, that will support us significantly. So the governor, like I mentioned, we're investing a lot. We're looking into fiber optics investment to ensure that the connectivity in the state is increased. Digital skills is also something very important that we're focusing on, like I've mentioned severally. Policy framework, which the startup bill is going to put in place, so investors into the ecosystem will be able to thrive significantly. We've been having conversations with key players across board. Recently, we had a conversation with the founder of Northskin East Africa. We want to set up something similar here in Enugu State that will ensure that our youth have a platform to thrive, to be able to build startups, to be able to, create systems that are innovative and help the government in what we are doing, and also help the states grow. So we're doing a lot in that space. There's a lot of investments being put in place, and I'm sure we'll be able to get Enugu State to its dominant position as a key player in the tech ecosystem ecosystem in Nigeria. So recently, I think we were ranked joint fourth best startup state in Nigeria. So we want to improve on that position by investing in these things I've mentioned. And the first way to ensure this is put in place is by ensuring the right policies are there. And within a few weeks, it's currently on the Attorney General's table. We've been having interactions with private sector as well, ecosystem players, to get their buy-in into the startup bill. Once that is in place, we have a number of programs set up for universities. Hackathons are ongoing. Like you mentioned, having patent in place, patent protection in place, and getting support from the relevant development partners, both nationally and internationally.
So outside of Enugu State for now, if you take a broader look at laws protecting intellectual property in Nigeria, would you say these laws are weak and need to be strengthened?
I think these laws are quite robust. It just comes to implementation. So, the right steps are being put in place. The data protection law has been put in place. There's an agency, an MDA, that's in charge of implementing those laws. So I think in the last few years, there's been a concerted effort to invest in the institutions, invest in the policies. So we're now at the stage of implementation. How do we ensure implementation? And, policies are developed or have to be implemented from a subnational level. So it's now the time of the states to adopt those policies and ensure the right enabling environment is in place for the ease of doing business across board. So as a state, Enugu State is keen into that. I'm sure other states are, but I have to applaud the federal government in setting up the right institutions and then putting the right policies to ensure those things you mentioned. Data protection is very key, cybersecurity, making sure these things are in place. So I would say they are poor in any way. I won't say they are limited. They are quite robust. The right institutions are there, but it's now time for implementation and enforcement.
Let's talk about AI, which is the new trend in technology. I had a conversation with Minister Bosun Tijani some months ago, and he says government intends to use it to create about 50,000 jobs by 2030. I'm curious to know how Enugu State has keyed into this new trend of technology for the benefits of its people.
Yes. So as a state government, we are looking into this significantly, keying into the policies of the ministry as well to ensure that that's put in place. A lot of the investments in e-governance platforms, the Enugu one, for example, is significantly AI-driven. We are investing also in ensuring we can, find the right talents that can come up with innovative products around, AI and, data visualization, analytics. So we're also providing the right incentives for that by investing in the infrastructure and also providing funding to ensure these startups can into this and come up with some of these innovative products. So I think AI is here to stay. It's, some people are a bit tepid, they're a bit worried whether it might take their jobs, but I think it's going to complement what we are doing and going to ensure a more ensure a more efficient, workplace. So I don't think people should shy away from this. I think the ministry, they've started. There was an investment they made for a grant of 100 million naira. It could be, more could be done, and I'm sure they are looking at it actively. But the AI, I think within the next few years, we have investments that we've done here already with our CCTV cameras across the Enugu State metropolis, and we're looking to expand that across all the 17 local governments. These are AI-powered CCTV cameras that help from a security standpoint, but also help in generating revenue for the state government as well. Our investments in our water infrastructure have a lot of Internet of Things platforms that ensure connectivity and efficiency as well. So in everything we do here, we always ensure that there is a level of innovation to make sure that we're getting our best foot forward and ensuring that the people that voted the current administration led by Dr. Peter Mbah see the dividends of this democracy and government.
So let's go back to talent development. I'm very particular about this. What is government doing to catch them young, especially by integrating ICT into secondary school curriculum? Do you plan to collaborate with the Ministry of Education on that, or has that happened? And I'm asking because of the number of out-of-school children in Enugu State, over 400,000. And it was just in May 2023, UNICEF pushed for e-learning in Enugu State. And report says that in that state, 38 of every 100 children do not enroll into primary education at the school entry age of 6. And there was a conversation about strengthening Nigeria learning passports, which is like a new solution designed to close the huge learning gap. Has Enugu State keyed into that initiative?
Yes, I can tell you quite significantly, the Ministry of Education, like I mentioned earlier, investing significantly in smart schools across the state. This is going to be very transformative. 160 of them that, a new educational standard using the K-12 model. We're now investing into the smart school system for secondary school students. So what this does is ensure that we are integrating innovation from an early stage, a new way of thinking, experiential learning as well. So we're doing a lot over there. There's a lot of investment going on there. I'm not too sure of the statistic you just mentioned, around 400,000 out of school leavers. Throughout the years, Enugu State has done significantly well when it comes to people who are in school. Of our certification test as well, we've always achieved an a good percentile, around the 80 to 90% percentile. But by next year, I believe end of the second quarter, all 260 of these smart schools will be done. So we'll be moving from the current school system into that. Some of these schools are already operational, and you just have to go in there and see the transformative change that is already ongoing. It's complete night and day. So these are the smart school initiative is something that has been lauded internationally. Significant UNESCO has been here giving significant support to that program. The UN, UNDP, a lot of development partners, even the vice president, was quite in awe as to what's going on in that space.
All right. Please talk to us about other infrastructural projects by the Governor of Mbah administration, such as the Command and Control Security Infrastructure, the International Conference Center.
Yes, so the International Conference Center is a world-class facility. Within that facility is going to hold our five-star hotel, which is currently ongoing. As you know, as it was mentioned in the little feature, that's a facility that has been moribund for the last 25 years. But what we did now, immediately when the governor got into power, he had already set out a framework for how we can get this ready by December. And trust me, if you go there right now, it's going to be something that it's world-class. It's something that we see internationally when we travel, a one-stop shop. Individuals that come in there might not even have to leave that access because you have amphitheater there, you have a conference center that can hold 5,000 individuals. So, when you come to all these yearly associations that are in place, that, like the Nigerian Bar Association and whatnot, they can have their programs here. We can have startup events here in Enugu State that will attract significant traffic to the state. There are world-class mall facilities over there as well. So that's a significant investment that I must tell you, 6 months to deliver that, it's quite impressive. You also mentioned the Emergency Command and Control Center. This is complementing what we're doing in the security space. If you go in there, AI-driven, significant screens that show where all the CCTV cameras are across the state. So we have personnel that are trained, personnel that are trained to be able to pinpoint certain things and minimize the crime rate here in Enugu State. But on the flip side, it also helps from a revenue generation standpoint because, it's, you're able to, read all the, from the registrations of the license plates with the VIO, you can tell if somebody is late on their payments and immediately make those deductions to meet your targets. Outside of that, significantly road investments, over 2 tranches. I think investments in over 200 major roads and countless more within the rural communities as well, of a world-class standard. They have been talked about the Smart School Initiative, other infrastructure projects all around the states. I can't, probably because of the want of time, I can't go over a number of them. But he has hit the ground running. I don't think anyone has achieved what he has achieved within 1 year. It's like the plan was already in place. So we're just working like consultants to ensure that plan is being implemented.
All right, then. That's where we need to end this conversation tonight. Great conversation so far. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. And we wish the governor well in his quest to improving the well-being of the people of Enugu State. Thank you so much. Arinze Chilo-Offiah is a special advisor to Governor Peter Mbah on digital economy and MSMEs. Thank you so much for your time with us. Have a great weekend. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Ola